Mary Daugherty. I'm an attorney here in Colorado Springs, and I want to tell you all about how to file a restraining order. First of all, you should know that a temporary restraining order can be granted for any of these reasons, and I'm going to read directly from the statute. It's statute 1314-104.5. A restraining order can be issued to prevent assault and threatened bodily harm, prevent domestic abuse, prevent emotional abuse to an elderly person or an at-risk adult, to prevent sexual abuse or stalking, or to prevent sexual assault. And so I'll put a link to that statute down in the comments so that you can see it. But what that means is that a temporary protection order can be issued to prevent any one of those things. It doesn't have to be all or multiple, just one is enough. So for a restraining order case, the first thing you need to do is file your complaint for a restraining order. So you can get the paperwork from the self-help section of the court's website. I'll put a link down in the comments for you as well. You can also go to the TESA organization if you're here in Colorado Springs or in El Paso County. You can go to their offices, which are open 7:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Every work day. And you can ask them to kind of help you, guide you through how to fill out those forms. And it's really important that you want to write down everything that happened with specificity, and make sure you list every item of abuse that you can think of so that you have it all in there. And explain why you're still afraid, you're afraid of continuing abuse. In most cases, a temporary protection order hearing will be held the same day that you file that paperwork. So if you're here in El Paso County, you go to the courthouse, you go to room S101, so you go through security, turn to the left, and it's the room right there. There's a line, and you go through and you give them your paperwork. In most cases, the hearing will be held that day. And so it's an ex parte proceeding, which means that it's just you and the judge. So the abuser, the other person, will not be there with you. It's just you and the judge. And the judge will look at your complaint and decide whether or not to issue a temporary protection order. So if they do, then they'll give you something and you'll have to take it to the police, and they'll give you really easy to follow instructions to have a police officer serve the person that you're seeking protection from with the paperwork. And once they're served, that person has to continue paying the bills, if you're living with them, to the house, and they're not allowed to go back to the house. So you can list your children on that protection order if that's an issue. And there are all sorts of protections, which a lot of them are very common sense. So if you're following your gut, ask for exactly what you think should happen, and that's generally what the law says as far as the temporary protection order goes. Once they're served, you'll also get a date for your permanent protection order hearing. That date will usually, by statute, it's required to be within 2 weeks. If their person is not served by then, you go to the judge and you say, please give me more time to have them served, and hopefully they'll be served before that time. At that hearing, you'll either be issued another date for a hearing, or you'll go forward that day to show why you think a permanent protection order should be issued. At that hearing, I think it's really important to have an attorney. A lot of times, sometimes you can get one through the TESA organization, which I'll put a link to their website below. They like to help victims of domestic violence, and they do a great job doing that here in Colorado Springs. But at that hearing, you want to be able to prove your case. And so if you win at that hearing, you get a permanent protection order. If you lose, you don't get one granted. Now, if you kind of settle in some different way, you come to an agreement, or if for any reason that protection order is not granted, then you still have the opportunity, if needed, if something else happens, to file a whole new complaint, go through the process again, and get it through the court, and say, this is what happened. And so I try to encourage people not to be discouraged, because if they go through the process and they don't get their protection order, but then something else happens, they can file and explain what else happens, and then they have an even stronger chance of getting it then. So I encourage people, if you need a restraining order, you need a protection order, definitely seek help getting it. Definitely get it for your safety, and ask some questions, either at Tessa or get an attorney, or do some digging on your own so that you feel like you understand the process, because a lot of people unfortunately go through this and there are systems in place to help protect you. So I hope you found this video useful. My name is Mary Daugherty. I'm an attorney here in Colorado Springs, and please check out my website for more information.